And good morning, and welcome to your Monday with us. Monday, May 23rd, 2022. It is. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne, about to bring you some things you might not have heard. It looks like about 9 stories. I did some editing, so it's like 9 stories total for the weekend, going from Friday midnight to about 5 a.m. this morning, Monday. Some things you can take along the way as you ride the bus, as you sit in the Uber, as you do your water cooler talk at work, or just, bumping into random strangers on the streets. These are some news stories that you may have missed out on because they may not have been, as you see in the papers behind me, above the fold, or on your websites above the fold, the big main stories. But these are stories that I think have an impact. Some have very little impact, to be honest. But these are interesting things that you actually vetted to say that were things to talk about. We'll explain the whole vetting process later towards the end of the show. But on Mondays, we want to say welcome to all the extra folks we have out here. We do this 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. But on Monday, I produce this for my main Jay Cleveland Payne page on Facebook, as well as Jay Cleveland Payne on LinkedIn, to still show my technical skills and my ability to still do news stories. And also we do this to another channel on my main YouTube channel, my big YouTube channel. Otherwise, if you see the links that go to our main website, this is conversationproject.com, you'll see a link to our YouTube page. If you like what you're seeing, go ahead and head to that page and subscribe, and go ahead and hit notifications so you see the notifications when this thing goes live about 5:50 every single weekday morning, 5 days a week. Otherwise, if you're on those main channels, it's a 1 day a week thing. So hopefully you'll enjoy it and follow along. If you also want to see more great things, check out the website for how you can help us keep things going with partnerships and visiting some of our other sponsors. Let's get into the news stories because we've got a lot to cover in a little bit of time today. Starting off with Waffle House accused of gaslighting customers with all-star special price. This may not be the top story, but it was a pretty big story. We had about 95 news stories from Friday to Monday morning. We ranked them in order for engagement, and this one came out as fifth engaging, and I think it's one that people really, really want to, because people who don't know the mystery of Waffle House really don't understand what's going on. But Waffle House is known for pretty fast diner food, pretty basically consistent diner food, and of course being open in the middle of storms, because they never shut down. If a Waffle House shuts down, then there's something really bad about to happen. One thing a diner, a TikToker going to is getting this from daily.com, which gives us these stories, is saying that Waffle House has been lying to you about the price of their all-star breakfast. Especially, there's a price that you can see here on the thing. There's a price that's listed on the menu, but you go order it, and they basically are different pieces. Depending on when you order it and where you order it, you never get the same price in the same place. This is something you can test on your own at your own Waffle House, but this is one, because Waffle House is a big mystery to people who don't see it. This is one that made a lot of big deals. We did scratch a bunch of stories that were more on the top end because they were more mainstream stories, to get you our top story, our first story, the Waffle House. Next story we have going on is this one right here. Once we get the button to click, technology is wonderful sometimes. Sometimes it isn't. Pete Davidson is leaving Saturday Night Live. You'll see that in the moment once my screen catches up with the lag. Also, Kate McKinnon also leaving, Aidy Bryant, and also leaving Cal movers who were announced at the end of the season, basically the week before. They got a chance to give some goodbyes and some sketches going out. IndieWire.com gave us this link to the story. But it's these are longtime cast members. Pete Davidson's been there for 8 years. Kate McKinnon's been there a little bit longer. The other two have been there, not been there quite so long. But what happens when you get famous? Things work out for you when you start to get more and more opportunities. Can't stay there forever. Now, there was the long-standing joke with Tim Meadows, who seemed to be there forever, and Kenan Thompson, who essentially has broken that record, but he's there because he wants to be, not because he doesn't have other options. This is a thing where you're going to see a change in the guard, and then when a mass exodus of cast members comes, you start seeing a real change of people coming in. Oddly enough, they've had a lot of their new players there coming in that are taking more roles. So it won't seem like much of a change early on until they get some big time hires to take on into the spots. But this means more people out, more spots for people coming in for Saturday Night Live. Utah hunting guide faces felony for baiting bear killed by Donald Trump Jr. Huffington Post gave us that one, and this is one that you might want to go check out in the links that we have in our rundowns to see more about what's with this one. Because hunting bear is not illegal. if you have a permit, if it's a place where it's sanctioned, that's not a bad thing. This is not like hunting elephants and they're endangered. What is illegal is baiting the bears, so they just kind of basically just kind of sitting there out in the wild, out in the open, being sitting ducks, no pun intended, to be shot at. It's one thing when you're hunting the bears and you're out there and you're seeing the habitat and you're going through figure out where the wildlife is and see what's going on, and there is some baiting to keep them in range. Something else when you basically put the big old ham in the middle of the field and let them go for the ham and shoot them when they're basically not paying attention. That's essentially what's happening. Of course, the hunters usually don't get pinched for this. It's the hunting guides, the people who set these things up. That's what it looks like what's going to happen right here. We're going to see how this thing plays out in a bit. Two stories real quick on football that they're really quick. I'll go through them, blaze through them. First one, Michael Vick to come out of retirement to join fan-controlled football. And the second one is former CFB players call out Nick Saban for lying about paying recruits. The root for the first one and Bro Bible for the second one. Now, Michael Vick has not played football in quite some time. He's been an analyst for a while. He's had some issues. He was in jail for a bit and came back. He's a bit old. However, he's going to come out of retirement for one season only, to play along in the fan-controlled league. And the fan-controlled football league is literally where the fans say, do this play, and they make a play and we see what happens. It's more of a ploy to bring some attention to the fan control league. Not that Michael Vick does not have the prowess to still sling it like he can, but Michael Vick to save the fan control league for basically relevancy, as many other actual more or less legit football alternatives are out there. XFL is threatening to be something good. We'll see what happens with that. The current USFL is playing good football. I mean, I have the ratings going on because there's a lot of things going on, but it's got good football, and this is going to bring a chance for a lot of those players to play on the NFL coming in the fall and in the winter. But right now, Michael Vick is coming out of retirement to bring some love to the Fan Control Football League. And this was our teaser story for last week, and it did survive. It barely made in the ring, so about the 30th-week chance to choose from. But the former players in college football are saying that Nick Saban paid for his players. Nick Saban busting out Texas A&M saying they play for all their players and we don't pay for players, turned into something where all the old players are saying, why are you going to lie like that, Nick Saban? You've been paying players. Now that everybody can pay players, you can't just pay players. Basically what's being said right there. That was quicker than Michael Vick, because that was pretty much obvious that Nick Saban is paying guys to play. Got to say that. Morgan Freeman, Rob Reiner, AOC among Americans permanently banned from Russia. Rep.com giving us this story. And let's click over to that link real quick as it refreshes. And we're going to get rid of that breaking news tab right there. So Russia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs published a blacklist of nearly 1,000 politicians and creatives who will never be allowed to enter Russia. A bunch of them. 963 exactly. They include the late Senator John McCain, who is, of course, actually dead, so he's probably don't have much of a chance of going to Russia. Also, of course, are the current president and vice president, because, they've got bad tidings. A lot of other people listed as well. People who are permanently banned by Russia to not enter Russia. So if you want to get the bad treatment like Brittany Griner, and she needs to be released right now, then they know not to go to Russia for any visits. Probably won't be there for any summits that they're going forward. What will happen if they're in something like Greece? Will they be extradited, kidnapped? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? The next story we have going up is this one right here. U.S. Airlines cutting training requirement to get more pilots to cover shortage. This one coming from Business Insider.com. We're going to pull that one up real quick too as well to get a look at that story. So the full headline they have there is a very long one. U.S. airliners like Delta and United are so desperate for pilots, they're dropping some requirements and considering cutting training hours to get more pilots flying sooner. So you're not going to drop safety. That's one thing. You're not dropping safety protocols, but they do have a shortage of pilots. What happened when the pandemic happened and there was no flights going out there? They had to cut a lot of pilots from the rosters. What happened when the pandemic started to end and people need to get back to things? They had to get more pilots on the roster. Fortunately, most of the older pilots decided to go ahead and retire and just go do other things, and a lot of people aren't jumping into the gun to get into replacing the other pipeline like it was in the past. That means they've got to get more pilots, get more flights out there. The airlines are making money or trying to make money. People are trying to fly. People are trying to get around. But what's becoming an issue is literally the pilots to get them around. How do you fix that? You lower some requirements. This is something that's not necessarily all that shocking, not necessarily all that controversial, but it is a matter of just making it work in economics. When it's pure economics, not because the requirements are super high, they're there for a reason, but for pure economics, you got to get people into the chairs faster. So you've got to cut some training hours and maybe some requirements. Maybe let the age limit go a little more. Maybe the age limit a little younger, a little less experience. Go from there. We will see how this plays out going forward for all you folks trying to fly to Friendly Skies. I have a conference to go to next month. So as far as I know, the only change I've had was the oddity of they literally changed the flight by 2 minutes. They let me know that my flight is now 2 minutes earlier. So don't be late by that 2 minutes because they're trying to do their best to keep the customers that they have. The Red Power Ranger actor Austin St. John charged in wire fraud conspiracy indictment. USA Today gave us this one. This has nothing to do with Power Rangers and nothing to do with anything. It's a crime. It is a crime. Wire fraud is a crime. What did he do? Oh, it's pretty simple. He got pinched in PPP loans. That's what's going on. He's in a press release on Wednesday. St. John, whose legal name is Jason Lawrence Geiger, didn't know that. So, an 18 named an indictment that accused the defendants of defrauding the Small Business Association Paycheck Protection Program, obtaining at least $3.5 million in fraudulent funding. The indictment states two other defendants, Michael Hill and Andrew Moran, were ringleaders in corralling 16 others to apply for small business loans with falsified documents and collected the money for their own personal purchases. So there you go. The Red Power Ranger not standing up for good, playing uses power for evil, and getting himself a PPP loan, $3.5 million to spend on himself that should be spent on some sort of company. There you go. This may be childhood coming to life and showing you that, it's not so real. But since this actually came out while I was in college, I can't really say it's childhood on this end. Next story is a bit more substantial, a bit more bite to it that you need to really know about. Southern Baptist leaders covered up sex abuse, lie to members about secret database, explosive report shows. APnews.com gave us that one. So we're going straight to the AP with a simple story, but this one that's been bubbling over all weekend long. Southern Baptist Convention, or basically the grouping of the Southern Baptist brand of religion, are doing something or have done something a lot similar to what the Catholics have had for issues for, forever. They've had some scandals. They've had some sexual exploits. They had some bad things happen behind the scenes in the churches and with their people. And they kept notes, and they kept really good notes. And they told no one about this. This is a big thing that's going to be taking a little while to get through. This may not overtake the news in your local coverage of the coronavirus or of Ukraine or whatever gas prices are in your local locality. But if you have a lot of people who are sort of fed up with how church is being hypocritical sometimes, this is something that was probably going to come up in conversation across the dinner table with some folks who may want to point fingers at some of the church-loving folks. Full disclosure, I go to church every single week. I go to a non-denominational church. I go to a church and I have my issues with the church in general. I listen to and watch and read a lot of things that essentially are pointing fingers and kind of tearing down bad church programs, bad church prophecy, just politics and things like that. Just sort of how churchy stuff gets into the realm of money and politics, and some churches and some people can't get out of it. Plus, a lot of the hypocrisy that's in churches. I don't claim any major major philosophical or major points of being anybody better than anybody. I just, like the scandals, like the business, like the inner workings of things, and watching how things break is a great way to watch how things grow. One of my best ways, one of my things I do for my business training is essentially point out how bad business stuff happens and how you can see how the bad stuff happens so that you can do good stuff. Things I care about, like the church. So I watch for the bad stuff so I can hype up the good stuff in comparison to that. That's all I got on that end. And this is our teaser story for the day. This is a story just like the Nick Saban story, but college football players saying that he's lying about not paying players. This is one we may talk about tomorrow if you deem this worthy enough. And we'll explain how that works in a moment. But this is a story I actually got a chance to watch on 60 Minutes last night while I was working on some other issues. And this is a heart tugger right here. Hope Chicago, charity sending students from Chicago high schools to college for free. The Hope Chicago charity is sending students from 5 high schools to school for free, and it's going to cost them billions of dollars over the next decade. They are planning this. A guy that said he won all the lotteries in life, and seeing just how unfair it is and how inaccessible college actually is for minorities and people who do not have all the chances, is taking his company and making some changes and hoping to help out Chicago because they've got some problems, and he wants to actually write a check to try to make it work, make it happen, and improve some lives. If you want to talk about this one, you just rate it up in the engagement coming up for tomorrow. We'll explain more about that in mere moments, but first, let's explain how you can keep things going by visiting one of our sponsors, a good one that I have been in love with lately. That is Fundrise. Visit thisisaconversationproject.com/fundrise, and you get a chance to get into real estate investing and not having to go out there and buy the house and rent the house yourselves. You put your money into a fund, a real estate fund of people who manage a real estate and portfolio. They buy houses, they buy apartment buildings, they buy commercial properties, they buy them and sell them, they rent them. And as they make their profits and dividends from that, you collect dividends and get money from there. It's just like a mutual fund. It's just like buying stocks. And at the moment, because the housing market is so hot, it's a pretty good deal to get into it. Plus, Fundrise, if you get into it right now, will give you extra shares. They'll match your opening shares up to a point. So check it out right now. We do get a bit of a commission for this because this is a commission link. This is an affiliate link, but you will not be disappointed when you check out the portfolios, check out what's going on, and see how easy it is to get into real estate investing to diversify your portfolio. Now, remember, all investments have a risk, and you may end up losing money down the line. But right now, if you're looking to diversify your portfolio because your stocks are kind of crazy and your 401k is getting a little head scratchy, try to get into real estate. And this is a safer way without having to go out there and flip houses on your own. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/fundrise and check it out today. Now, let's talk about all those feeds things and how you can help us out. Go to our main website, thisisaconversationproject.com, and you can see all the things Conversation Project. If you're watching us on my main Facebook channel or my main YouTube channel or on the LinkedIn channel, thank you so much for joining us and getting these news stories. Give us all the comments you want to going forward so we can improve on this. But go to our main website so you can see what's going on and what everything is behind the Conversation Project, the whys, if you will. This is a long-standing and kind of a name-changing project, not quite where it was originally, but it is about having conversations with people on news stories from around the world, and we do this 5 days a week in this forum and other forums as well. The feeds are on Facebook and Twitter, and your way to vote up stories is by going to our feeds on Facebook. This is a Conversation Project, and on Twitter, th_conversation. And what you do is you just simply read the stories as they can pop up. Every 50 minutes, we put out a news story. Every 50 minutes, a new news headline for you to check out. And as you engage with it, we get a score from it. 5 in the morning on Monday through Friday, we pull the scores for the previous day. For Monday, it's the previous weekend. Put them in a spreadsheet that adds up the total for the engagement, and then we count them down, sort of, give you the stories as they go. Quick hydration break, please. Thank you. So on Monday, because we have 3.5 days to cover, we go through about 90 to 95 stories in that span, and we'll pull from the top 30 engagement and stories and pick 7 to 9 stories. Some days we get 10 because it gets a little crazy. Hiccups and coughs. Sorry about that. And then we present them for you as stories you might not have heard, you might have missed over the weekend going into your week. Usually the non top headline above the fold stories, but some we get into as well because we want to get into those, make sure those are good coverage as well. Just like we remind folks about Brittany Griner, who needs to be released right now. On Tuesday through Friday, we only have about 30 to 33 stories within the span of time. So we only pick from the top 15 in engagement and give you 5 to 7 less stories, but usually more yakety yak because I tend to yakety yak. If you're not following us on our main YouTube channel, if you're watching this on my main J. Cleveland Payne channels today on Monday, go to thisisaconversationproject.com/YouTube and subscribe to that channel for the Conversation Project. That way you get this 5 days a week. You'll get this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as well, and get the chance to get your day started off with hopefully great news coverage. I think it is. You may not agree. If you don't, you can comment and let us know on that as well. We give you a couple other things that you might not have known for the day. We call them, starting off with today things, birthdays and the day of the day. Day. Joan Collins, turning 89 years old today. The Scion, I guess she's not the Scion, but she's one of the stars from the original Dynasty, bringing in the glam and glamour from back in the 80s and the shoulder pads, of course. Drew Carey from Drew Carey Show, and now with Price is Right, who's a great beard guy himself, 64 years old on the day. And Ryan Coogler, the director, the man behind the Black Panther and other great things, Marvel and otherwise. He is 36 years old today. Taffy Day. Today is Taffy Day. Why have you picked Taffy Day? Well, you got to pick something, and we decided today is Taffy Day. If you're a fan of taffy, celebrate with all the taffy you can possibly devour on this day. And finally, one more thing you might not have heard going out the door. The average American eats 4 salads every week. That is every week. That's 7 days, 4 salads total. It doesn't say whether they're side salads or main salads. The article just said 4 salads. So if you're looking to improve on our average because we're still really, really fat, that means you have to find a way to consume more salads. 4 salads means 4 meals out of 3 a day, 7 a week, blah, 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 blah. So if you're one of those folks that's hitting that average, congratulations. If you're trying to bring it up, congratulations. If you're one of those meat eaters who just refuse to eat a vegetable, and I know quite a few of those guys, well, you probably try a salad sometime. This has been Things You Might Not Have Heard for Monday, May 23rd, 2022. My name, still Jay Cleveland Payne. Remember, stay hydrated, stay motivated, stay on task, stay limber. Not motivated, stay limber, because we need you around to do the great things that you're here for. That's what we need you to do. So make sure you can stay here, stay with us. My number one rule in my Rule of Life book is don't die. At least don't do anything to add on to the chances of you dying. So do what you can to make sure you're here, because we need you available for all the great stuff. You can check us out on the website at thisistheconversationproject.com. Check out our feeds on Facebook and Twitter so you can see how to vote up the stories as they go. And check out our sponsors page and our partnerships page and see what you can do to help us keep this thing going forward. Thank you for everybody who showed up for the live version and for seeing this on my main channels. Remember, go to thisistheconversationproject.com/YouTube and sign up so you get this thing all 5 days of the week. With that, we've got news stories posting like in moments right now. So we do this all day, all night, 24/7, every 50 minutes. A new news story is coming up ready for you guys to engage with. So go engage, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning. Make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel so we can get you more things you might not have heard for what will be Tuesday.